There was a photography class. This was a study done, and the professor split the class into two. The one half of the class, he said, okay, you guys are going to be graded on the amount of photos you are able to take this semester, the quantity, and that number of photos will lead to your final grade, quality side. The other half of the class, he said, your grade by the end of the semester is going to be based on the quality of the photos you take. And specifically, one photo. You will take one photo and make it as absolutely perfect as it can possibly be. And that's what you'll submit, and you will get graded on that one photo. So, what happened? Naturally, the class with the quantity was out experimenting, doing all sorts of things, taking tons of pictures all the time, always camera in their hands, getting shots, experimenting, different environments, different places, different subjects in the photo. And the other half of the class was out reading books or out at galleries, thinking, theorizing, discussing the photo. And by the end, the results were in. One group that had taken tons of photos and the other that had just taken one. And the quantity group, not only did they have more photos, but out of those photos, there were much better photos taken than the group that could just submit one photo. So what does that mean? That means we got to do more. That means we got to do more to get the results we want. If you're stuck on the mix looping for one song and you've been mixing it for months, trying to tweak it into perfection, you're doing yourself a serious disservice. Because in that time, you're walking around in a circle when you should be walking across the country. Think of it like this. Every time you're opening up that session and making more tiny little tweaks beyond the point of the mix being good, you're tweaking it, tweaking it, tweaking it, tweaking it. You're walking in a circle like this. And every time you go around, you're digging that path deeper into the ground of just never being satisfied with it. And there comes a point where, like, yes, we do got to revise some things and we got to up our craft. But you, as a mixer, or you, as a producer, or whatever your skill is, this could even be practicing an instrument or practicing, you know, learning many different songs versus playing the one song over and over and over, right? The whole idea is all those miles that you spent in the circle, you could use those as miles going across the country. Now, let me build on this further if you're with me. Let's build on this further, and I want to share with you the number one way. This is kind of what all this video is leading to. The number one way to get momentum in your work. Okay? So now we know we're going to go quantity focused, and this is how I got really good at mixing. I've mixed close to 1,000 songs now, and I could have spent all that time on just like one album trying to make it perfect for years, but I didn't. I mixed a ton of songs, and that's where I got my skill set from, is experiencing all those different things. And how did I do that? I had to show up every day. I had to show up every day and open the door. You see, lots of us in the music production, whether you're doing it as a hobby or as a pro, everyone at some point struggles with motivation. You have this burning passion for it, you love it, but there's something that maybe you're overthinking it, or you're putting so much pressure on yourself about it that you almost freeze into paralysis over your music, when the thing you should be doing is just opening the DAW. Maybe you're even watching this video as a procrastination, or you're scrolling as a procrastination. And this video, I won't say stop watching this video, because I really think that this point here is going to hit it home for you and be valuable to you. But after this video, and this other time that you're spending on these things, maybe just open your DAW. And as soon as it's in front of you, guess what happens? As soon as it's in front of you, you just start working. You start working without even really thinking about it. The number one music production productivity hack I've learned is just open your DAW, because in every moment you should be asking yourself, what else could I be doing right now in this moment? What else? And that what else is like, if I'm sitting here doing nothing, procrastinating, what else could this time be spent doing right now? Well, I could have, composed my whole chorus or edited my whole, I could have tuned the whole vocal. In that time, I sat there thinking about it or dreading it. What else? What else could I be doing with this exact time? And so a lot of the times it's just overthinking it. Please, friend, open your DAW. And as soon as it's there, here's the thing. A lot of people wait to open their DAW because they're waiting for motivation to do it. That's not how motivation works. Motivation works by not waiting to get inspired to do your work. You get inspired because of your work. You start your work and it inspires you. And what happens is when you do something that gets you excited, you get into your session and you force yourself in that first moment to open the DAW, get some tracks made, and all of a sudden that's where the motivation comes from. Because something will spark you and get you excited. A little idea you have. Maybe you're really pumped about how something turned out, or you remember something you worked on in your session that you loved and you can build upon. You start getting ideas. That's where the motivation comes from. It comes from in the moment inspiration. The power of starting is what gets you motivation. There's no motivation. If you're relying on the motivation to start, that never comes. So you have to force yourself to start right now. And then once you start, you get motivation from those micro wins. You get a little micro win by opening the session. You get a little hit of dopamine. And it's good dopamine in this case because it's moving you forward. You get a little hit of dopamine. You're like, I want a little bit more of that. I feel good to open the session. I'm going to edit this track really quick. I'm going to mix this vocal a little bit. I'm going to add an effect. Then you get another micro hit of dopamine. And you just can't stop. And it rolls you into your motion to create and make art. And what inspires you is the doing. It's not waiting to do. It is the doing that inspires you to do. And it'll inspire you to do better and better and better work. You can only see step 2 from step 1. You can't see it from step 0.